I just got finished watching I.O. Haru Ride, or Blue Spring Ride, as it's called in English. I like this series too. I just got finished watching episode 1, and I think this is going to be a good series. The animation on this, it reminds me like a lot of Say I Love You, if you ever seen that series before. The style, you know what I'm saying, in which is animated, reminds me a lot of that. So when I saw that, I was kind of like, okay, it kind of got that same appeal. The main character, Tanaka, as a kid, he reminded me of Ginta from Dead Man Wonderland. So I was kind of like, this might, have, some appeal to me because these characters kind of look alike. So I was kind of shocked by that or whatever, right? But the basic plot of this is there was a girl named Futaba, and there was a boy named Tanaka, and they were kind of friends or whatever when they was kids or whatever. And Tanaka was in love with her, and he asked her to come to this like festival thing. You know what I'm saying? Like just one day he asked her to come to this festival thing as his date, and she was being approached by some boy afterwards or whatever who was being kind of annoying. And she said that she hated all boys, and Tanaka overheard Futaba say this, and it kind of like, I don't know if it messed him up or broke his spirit, but he kind of walked away. He looked kind of, sullen about the situation, so he walks away, and she just thought to herself, like, I'll have an opportunity to talk to him, you know what I'm saying, because she went to the festival to meet up with him, but he didn't show up or whatever, and she was just like, well, after summer break, I have an opportunity to talk to him, we can clear up this misunderstanding. But he moved away or whatever, and this was in her first year of middle school, and he moved away, so she never did get a chance to talk to him. And it fast forwards 3 years later to her first year of high school, and she has completely changed from the way that she was. She was kind of a quiet, dainty sort of girl, very beautiful, pretty girl, kind of quiet, reserved to herself, kind of, but that caused all the females in the class to hate her. All the boys admired her and liked her, but all the females hated her. So now she's kind of like the opposite of the, quiet, reserved girl. She's very like loud, and she would fit perfectly over here. You know what I'm saying? But she's kind of loud, and she has a big appetite, and seems like she eats a lot. She's not fat or anything, but she just eats a lot. She's not ladylike in that sense or whatever, And so she has female friends. I'm gonna use that term very loosely. She has female friends or whatever, but the boys are kind of like, they're kind of like whatever towards her. She still looks the same. She has longer hair. She's still a cute character, but the boys are kind of just like, she's kind of like, she's not ladylike at all or whatever. But she doesn't really interact with boys that way. But like one day, when she was getting all that bread from the confectionery inside the school, she sees this dude, and he reminds her of her friend Tanaka or whatever. But she follows him and everything, and someone calls out to him, but they say Mabuchi or something like that. Well, hold on, let me see. Mabuchi. It says Mabuchi, and she's like, oh, okay, so it must not be him. But then she was just like, well, when he turned towards me, he smiled. Or was that just a coincidence? So after this, she's mulling over the fact that this guy, why would she think that this guy was, Tanaka or whatever, and he's not, sorry about that, and he's not Tanaka, he's Mabuchi and all that type of stuff. And she's walking home, and she notices that the guy, Mabuchi, is right in front of her, and she's just like, oh, I wasn't following you or anything. And then he just turns around, he's kind of like, whatever. And he walks, and he goes past the shrine that they first time met in. And he goes inside, and he sits on the exact same side that he sat at all those years ago. And she says Tanaka, and he's like, no, it's Mabuchi, actually. And she's like, oh, I'm sorry about that, my mistake. She turns to walk away, and he says the exact same thing he said to her when they were kids, which was like about the weather. Like he made a reference to say it came out of nowhere, didn't it? Or it started pouring out of nowhere, didn't it? But it wasn't raining at the time, so that was a reference to what he said to her when they were kids. Because when he first met her as kids or whatever, it rained when they first sort of met up or whatever, and that was a reference to them meeting again, and that confirmed that he was Tanaka, and she turns towards him or whatever, she's like, oh my God, so it is you, Tanaka. He's just like, listen, I'm Mabuchi now. My parents divorced. I changed my name. I'm Mabuchi now. I'm not Tanaka. And then he's like, it's funny to me that you didn't even notice me, and we've been in the same school for like a year. Like, I noticed you right away, but you didn't even notice me. But I get it's understandable because I did change and you changed into that, but I recognized you right away. And I was just like, damn, like this dude, this dude, like, don't hold back. He just say what the fuck he wants to. And then she was like, if you knew that, then why did you come up and say anything to me? But then after this, you know what I'm saying, he says, you hate guys, you always have, so that part of you hasn't changed. And then she was like, yeah, I do hate guys, but you different. And he was like, yeah, I felt the exact same way. I loved you then. You know, but then he's like, you know, that was the past. You know, times change, stuff has changed, we've changed. That was in the past, so don't worry about it. And he walks away or whatever, you know. And she starts to cry a little bit, and he walks away. But the next day, she's like buying a bunch of bread and stuff from the confectionery again, and they ran out of bags. And the woman said, "We want to get some bags." And Futaba was like, "No, don't worry about it." And she gives one the money, but another lady, just out of fucking nowhere, just like grabs her. You know what I'm saying? Just roughs her up and just grabs her like, hey, you need to pay for this. She's like, no, I already did pay for it. And she's like, no, you didn't. You don't even got a bag. And I was just like, damn, she did not just hear this woman say, we've ran out of bags. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you didn't see her, that's whatever. If you didn't see her pay, that's whatever. But to literally, like, not hear her say, we have run out of bags. You can even look to see if there are bags. There are none. So I was just like, this woman just retarded, right? So she grabs, she's like, no, you gotta pay for that. We had a lot of this thievery going on or whatever. And Futaba's friends come up and like, you can't do that. You can't just get it and not pay. And that's why I use the term friends very, very loosely, because my friends would know that I wouldn't do no shit like that. So if those really were her friends, they would also know that she wouldn't do no shit like that. But they didn't know, so I'm like, I have to use the friend shit very, very loosely. They're not really friends. They're more of like acquaintances in a way, or they just hang out with her, honestly, because it makes them look more attractive in the eyes of the boys, because Futaba is, you know, unladylike in a way. So they say you can't do all this or whatever, and you know, Futaba starts to flip out a little bit, you know, but then Mabuchi says, no, hey, she paid for that. You know what I'm saying? And then he calls the woman who Futaba gave the money to. He's like, didn't she give you money? And the woman's just like, yeah, she already paid for it. And the lady who was grabbing Futaba lets go, and she's just like, oh, well, go ahead and go then. And then Mabuchi's like, no, you need to apologize, you old hag. You know what I'm saying? And she turned around, she's like, old hag. You're like, yeah, you were in the wrong. You need to apologize. And then she was just like, I am so sorry. And then they walk away, and, you know, Mabuchi goes away. And then Futaba comes back up to him. She's just like, thank you for that, you know. And then he's just like, yeah, don't worry about it. She was in the wrong. She was clearly in the wrong. You know what I'm saying? Don't even worry about it. And then she was just like, I was mad at first, you know what I'm saying? But because you got mad, it made everything all right. That satisfied me. And Mabuchi was like, that satisfies you? That means that you cheat then, if that's what it takes to satisfy you or whatever, you know. And then he goes on to slightly berate her about the like illusion that she's like portraying of these friends of hers, and this pseudo personality that she's built up of herself or whatever. Like, that's not the real her, you know. She's being fake. He goes on to berate her for that. And then she's just like, well, you don't understand. I have to. Like, you might not get it. You might say this is stupid, but I have to be this person. And he's just like, I don't care. You don't even have to explain yourself to me. I told you how I felt about it, and I don't care. And then he just kind of leaves, you know what I'm saying? But I'm noticing they blanking out his face every time he says some shit like that to her. You know what I'm saying? They keep blanking out his eyes. So it's like, I think that he is saying that shit so that she can go back to being the person that he remembered. You know what I'm saying? Because that might have been, because he, you know, talks about his parents' divorce and all that shit. So that might have been like the shining moment in his life when his parents were together, and, you know, she was like the beacon that reminded him of his youth. You know, Futaba is like the pillar that reminds Mabuchi of his life as Tanaka and as his youth and all that type of stuff. So it seems like that's why he's berating her, to try to remind him of his past life and all that type of stuff. But that's how this particular episode ends, and I was just kind of like, okay, I like it. A little bit of drama, a little bit of comedy, you know what I'm saying? A whole love situation, slice of life, pretty much. I liked it. You know what I'm saying? If you like this series, let me know. If you heard of it before, let me know. You know, like I said, I think it's a good series. It can grow on me or whatever. This episode, it was kind of slow, but I think it needed to be. You know what I'm saying? Because we had to figure out what the fuck was going on with, you know, the background of these characters and why they were doing this and why they were behaving this way and why did they change and blah 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 blah. So I think it was slow, but it had to be. You know what I'm saying? So let me know what you thought about it, though, man. If you're gonna continue this series, you're gonna start it. You know what I'm saying? If you enjoyed it, let me know. You know what I'm saying? If you hate it, tell me why. If you think it's boring, let me know. You know what I'm saying? But personally, I think it's okay. You know what I'm saying? Vasher Stampede, gone.